Okay, you guys, we are in record mode. And so my name is Tina Gray, and I want to welcome you guys to the Start Rebels Zoom Room virtual meeting. This is a training call for associates, and I'm super grateful that you guys are here. It is a beautiful long weekend here in Canada, and I know lots of people have been celebrating, having a good time, and the weather is freaking amazing. Still really nice and sunny out there. So I'm really grateful that you guys have jumped on to join Seamus and I. We've got some great tips we want to share with you guys. So before we get into the meat of the call here, just to do our disclaimer that for those of you that are listening in live or maybe listening to the recording, we are START associates, 18 to 35. I'm a graduate. Some of us are graduates, but typically we represent the START group. And START Vision is all about transforming lives physically and financially. And the START Vision is all about making contribution on a bigger scale. So you're going to hear some testimonials, a couple today from myself and Seamus, and talking about body transformations as well as perhaps some financial opportunity as well. We make no claims to treat, prevent, cure, or diagnose any illness or disease. The results that you get will be independent of you and the efforts that you put forth, as well from a financial perspective. Okay, what you put in is what you'll get out. And amazing things can happen when our bodies have what they require, and when we dedicate ourselves to, building our businesses and sharing this gift of Isagenix. So, super grateful that you've joined us on this call here tonight. Got people calling in from different areas. This is a great call to share with people who are looking to share Isagenix and want more tips on how to do that more effectively. So I am going to get right into it here. I'll share with you a little bit about my story. So again, my name is Tina Gray. I'm out of Barrie, Ontario, Canada. Whoop, whoop. And I joined Isagenix 5 years ago for health reasons. I've worked in the fitness industry for over 30 years now, really aging myself. I was a baby when I started. And I started because I was in a place, I was a single mom. I was commuting 3 hours a day. I was busting my hump trying to make ends meet, working full-time as a fitness specialist and nutrition coach, and also had a company on the side doing boot camps and classes on the weekends and the evenings. My kids played rep hockey, so it was a really crazy life. Loved it. However, sometimes we think we're superhuman, but we're not, and our body shut down. So I went through some challenges with my own health, and as a result of communicating with a girlfriend, Dr. Michelle Dickey, who's also a chiropractor and healthcare practitioner, someone who I trust very much. She introduced Isagenix to me for like the 6th time, and I finally said yes to her because I trusted her, and I knew her kids were eating it. So I got started, had amazing results within the first week. Couldn't not share it. I felt it was a disservice to my clients, friends, and family not to share this incredible opportunity for people to really transform their health and feel a whole hell of a lot better from the inside out. And that has turned into something that was, don't talk to me about the business, to something that is now providing me with a full-time income and part-time hours. And not to mention, I've been able to help a lot more people than I could trading my time for money in the gym. I've got an incredible opportunity for my 2 start-age sons who are starting to get interested. They love the products. They feel amazing. They take them daily. But they're also really open to the idea of not wanting to work really super hard as a laborer for the rest of their lives. So they're starting to come around, and they're pretty open to multiple streams of income, and they love the people that they've met who I get to hang out with, like you guys. So it's a great opportunity. So we're super stoked that you guys are here. Now, I am going to share a little bit more later on to talk about summer, because as we know, I'm sure we've all had a little chill time this weekend. It's pretty easy to get into the summer mode, to kind of back off, take our foot off the gas a little bit when it comes to sharing Isagenix. So I don't know where you're at personally. I can't speak for you, but I know that in my previous years, there's been some summers where I've dogged it pretty good through the summertime, done a lot of traveling, still had that income coming in every week, which was really nice, but not necessarily putting it out there. So I'm going to give you some hints and tips as to how to keep your eye on the prize, keep your foot on the gas, and keep things moving through the summer, but still be able to enjoy and not feel like you're, going full bore. But before that, I'm going to introduce you to Seamus. So Seamus is a young man who is a super dad to 2 beautiful girls, a husband to his beautiful wife, and he has had experience with acting. He's gone through school for acting. He has been part of a company that is all about environmental conscious ways, and he'll share more with you a little bit about his journey, why Isagenix is part of his life, and why he's so passionate about sharing this gift with other people. What I love about Seamus is that he speaks with such passion and conviction about anything that he's talking about. He's someone who I've just been immediately drawn to from the perspective of he's a professional through and through, regardless of what it is that you're communicating with him about. And he also has a huge heart of service. He's very much about, giving back and supporting each and every one of us. Again, not many of us, I don't know, are even financially linked on this call, and it doesn't matter because we're part of the Isagenix family, and Seamus is definitely a testament to that. He lives the one team mentality, and that's why he's here to share with us today. So Seamus, I'm going to pass it over to you, my friend, and you're going to speak with us about a few awesome topics, events, and go from there. I'll let you take it over.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. Thank you for that amazing introduction, and thank you for facilitating this as always. Welcome everybody to this wonderful Sunday night event. And make no mistake, this is an event. We sometimes don't think of some of the Isagenix interactions that we have as being events, but I would encourage you as you plug into various resources, whether it's chatting with friends over coffee, whether it's three-way calls, whether it's podcasts or team calls or Zooms, to also consider those as events. And really the thesis of my piece tonight is that events build belief. And events build belief in a myriad of ways. So for people that are looking at Isagenix for the first time, Isagenix build their belief in the possibility for them, whatever they may be looking for, whether it's a solution that one of our products can provide, whether it's from a culture perspective or from a business perspective. For new people, it allows them to build belief both in themselves, in the company, in the industry, in themselves in this industry of network marketing. It also, from seasoned associates, people that have been around for a while, it builds belief. It acts as a way to charge in. I always consider physical in-person events as being a way for me to reset, to plug in, to recharge. Because sometimes we're going and sometimes we may not be running with a lot of other people, and we may see our batteries tend to sort of drain down a little bit. So events, whether it's a weekly Zoom like this, or whether it's a massive event like Celebration, which we'll chat a little bit more about in a second, it allows us to plug in and really recharge. Isagenixevents.com is really the central online hub for all kinds of Isagenix events. And they have it broken down into a wheel. And they have what they call the core 4 events. They have associate run events and leadership events. On the core 4 side of things, we have Isagenix University, which is really just that. It's a 2 or 2.5 day piece where you get to go to Isagenix school. You get to learn about the products, about the culture. You get to learn some of the skills around the business. You also have University in Action, and that's a 3-day course with David Wood. It was just in Toronto a few weeks ago, and it was fabulous. It was my first University in Action, and it was it's funny. You always say, it's sometimes we're watching a movie or a TV show, oh, well, that was the best one. But it almost always inevitably feels like the last event I went to was the best one. I went to the Red and White Raw event a few months ago, and I was like, oh, that was the best event. That's the best event I've ever been to. It was amazing. And then University in Action came up. It's like, oh my God, that was the best event that I've ever been to. So the UIA is really plugging in, super immersive. You're working with David Wood for 3 days. You're doing skills. So you're learning how to connect with people, how to be open, how to talk, practicing your 30-second story, going over scripts. So, and all of these are on isagenixbusiness.com. So how you do you plus 2, them plus 2, all those kind of things. The big one in January is called New Year Kickoff. It's the first event of the year. And that's sort of like, I sort of see that as sort of a mini celebration. Although the New Year kickoffs now are about the size of what celebrations were when I started going to celebrations a few years ago. But again, that's, product launches, plugging in, really filling up that bucket of belief, and celebrations. So celebrations coming up in 34 days. I think the countdown said August 7th to 10th in Las Vegas. I think there's going to be, was there 10,000 this year? 15,000? Does anyone know? 6? 11. 6,000? 5,000. 11,000. Let's say 100,000. 16,000. There we go. Thank you. And if you've never been to one of these big, what they call destination events, I highly, highly encourage it. It takes your belief needle, boom, it takes your culture meter, everything. It just takes you to a 10 on absolutely everything. Being in that room, listening to these people, really just the osmosis of linking arms with other Isagenix people. And oftentimes at events, it's what happens between the programs. And what I mean by that is it's walking down the hallway and bumping into an Isagenix millionaire and being able to have a conversation where they maybe say one thing that helps sort of tweak something or shift something for you. And I find no matter how many events I go to, a community meeting or a launch party, I find some of us who've been in this for a while maybe have seen dozens and dozens of opportunity meetings, but I always seem to learn something new every time. Something. I never know what it's going to be, but I can always be sure when I sit down, I will have learned something. So not only will my belief meter go up again, it'll fill back up, but I'll always come away with something new. And I've heard people say, you don't know whether you need the event or whether the event needs you. And I think that's really key, because sometimes I think, well, I don't know. I don't really want to go. It's, I don't need to. Maybe none of my team's going to be there. So who cares? No one's going to miss me if I don't go. And I'll be honest, for University in Action 3 weeks ago, I almost didn't go. I had a ticket. I was away. I was away the weekend before. And so I really was kind of jonesing for some family time, and it was a Friday night and the weather was nice. And even when I got there, I was kind of like, it started late. And I kind of thought about leaving. I was just like, you know what? I could just ditch. No one would know. It doesn't really matter. Boy, am I glad I stayed, because again, it was exactly what I needed, exactly when I needed it. And I find Isagenix events have an uncanny ability to be able to give me and give others exactly what they need when they seem to need it. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about, certainly about some of the bigger events. But when I started off chatting, I talked about looking at other things as being events. So look at going out for coffee with a friend to chat about Isagenix as being an event. The event is a tool that allows you to leverage, whether it's a conversation through the ISA Sales Tools app, or whether it's a three-way call. A three-way call is an event. It's part of the gradient of events. So you're showing them a tool, you're putting them on a three-way call. Maybe they're coming to a launch party, then maybe they're going to a regional event, an opportunity meeting, then maybe it's an Isagenix University, then celebration. So the events just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger from there. In terms of upcoming events, I'm just going to grab some water. There's a few events coming up this week. Susan Sly, who many of you know, is going to be in Ontario this week. I believe she is, let me just pull it up here. She's in Peterborough on the 5th. So I guess that's Tuesday. Excuse me. Ottawa on July 6th. Coming back through Kingston on the 7th. And then next Saturday is her Max Out event in Toronto, which if anyone has ever been to a Max Out event, it's awesome. She's just going to hammer skills. That is for managers and above. As mentioned, the celebration is August 7th to 10th. There is a University in Action in Kansas City, September 9th to 11th. I'm reading this all off of isagenixevents.com and also the Team Success email. And then lastly, there is an Isagenix University, September 15th to 17th in Toronto. So just remember, events build belief. And you never know whether you need the event or whether the event needs you. That's it. I'm done. Thank you for coming to this. Thank you for coming to this event.
You guys give it for Seamus. Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Seamus. Such great nuggets. Okay. Whoops. Hold on a second here. You guys, any shares? I'm going to get you guys to open up your mics. Any shares any takeaways from what Seamus shared with you, or anything that you have to add about maybe your first event, or maybe an event that you were thinking about not going to and you were so grateful that you went? We've had a couple of big ones since April and into May. So any shares on that, you guys? Jason's looking for the mic.
What you said about like no matter the size of the event.
Go ahead, Morgan. Yep.
Like no matter the size of the event, they're still important. Like I'm the person that goes to everyone's launch party. Like I show up no matter the day, no matter how much stuff I have going on. If I can make it, I go. And especially young people, they have this idea that they're just going to have this osmosis and they're just going to be a millionaire, but they don't think that it has to be like school. Like you have to go and see how everyone does it. And you have to go to the events and learn the skills. And that's something that I've struggled with because I go to everything, but like a lot of people don't think like that. And I love your quote. I wrote it down in a bubble, that events are just so important. I agree with everything that he said.
Awesome. Yeah, very valuable. That's good for you, Morgan. That's why you're having the success you're having too. Thank you. Jay, go ahead. You're going to say something?
Yeah, the first event, I guess, that I ever went to was at Tara Cooper's house. And it was myself, Pam Barnum was in, and it was myself and about, 30, 40 other women. And I was there with, I guess it was it Joel?
Joel was a baby.
Yeah, Joel was like an infant. He was like 3 months old or something. And like, I was just there and like being the only guy and everything, but like getting to meet Pam like in that situation and seeing that she's like real, she's a human being. Like you don't have to be intimidated by her or anything like that. That was phenomenal. And then that kind of shifted things going forward. That was kind of the first thing where we started to kind of launch our business, I think. And then the following year, the next summer, Sarah was unable to go to Celebration. She was still breastfeeding Joel, and it just wasn't going to work. But she said, "You're going," and I can tell you, I came back different after Celebration, and like things definitely shift after a big destination event. So. Right now, I think Jen Perry posted it in one of the groups. You can get like hotel and flight to Vegas. The deals are insane. Like it's $600 to go to like the whole event, flights and hotel. Like it's crazy not to go. Like normally we go to these destination events and you're paying $600 for a flight alone and then $200 for a hotel a night, even if you're sharing it. Like it's just crazy. So at this point, I'm like, you're crazy not to go. You're crazy not to go to Celebration this year. We have an infant coming in the next 2 weeks, so we're probably not going to go. But just saying, if things are different, we would be going. If we didn't have a newborn, we would be going.
Yeah, because you love your wife. You're going to stick around, which we understand. It's so true, though. It's so true. How many of you guys have ever had people, not go because they say that they can't afford to go? Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know for myself too. I've certainly, like my first event, like I was lucky I was eating IsaFood because I went on points on my flight. I went with someone I didn't even know because I didn't have a team. I just thought I'm only a couple months in. If I need to see these people and I need to like know face to face, belly to belly, if this is something I'm going to commit myself to. Because if I am, I'm all in. But I've got to get to that event because I was always about events for fitness, events and fitness conferences and things like that. And again, just like you said, Jay, hey Leah, I was all in. Like I just knew once I went there. But again, I shared meals with the girl I was rooming with. We did the super cheap on the hotel. We didn't stay at the host hotels. Didn't matter. Went on points on flight. Someone booked it for me, a friend. It didn't matter. I got my ass there. Last year, we drove. I drove with Catherine Harding because we had some people that weren't going to go. So I'm like, you think you're not going? You're freaking going. And I'm like, my Freestar will make it. No worries. We're driving. So we drove. We stayed in rest stations. We had 5 of us in a room. We ate lots of IsaFood. We shared meals. We pre-wined in the room. We didn't drink in Vegas. Like you do what you got to do. You get your people there. Right. So just to say, I don't mind living on the cheap anyways, but I definitely don't mind doing it if it's going to get teammates there and it could change your life. Right? So just share that with your people. And like Jason said, there are some incredible deals. I was checking them out. And if you guys, I'm not super expert on booking trips and things like that, but a lot of the stuff that I have booked, I shouldn't say that because I've got a lot of travel time with cheap flights and things. But if you go into private browse on Safari, private browse on a Tuesday afternoon, that's when things are the cheapest. And if you private browse, then your computer doesn't recall what you've looked at. So it pulls up the cheapest stuff. And that's when I find my cheapest flight. So and Expedia or what's the other one? They do a lot of like flights and hotels right now too. So Anyhow, awesome. Great point, you guys. Did you want to say something else, Seamus? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in. Jason, you jogged my memory about celebration. Eric Worre, who's a generic network marketing trainer, talks about the convention, and this is seemingly throughout our industry, but certainly if you ask some of the big leaders in Isagenix, the math works in that every person on your team that comes to celebration is worth approximately $1,000 to your business and to your bottom line. So if you have 10 team members with you, chances are you're going to make around $10,000 in that year. Susan Sly, Team Success, she has about 2,000 people on her team come, and she makes about $2 million. So I find network marketing is funny because we tend to not necessarily be able to equate our actions to specific stuff. I think if we all got paid, $30 an hour to work our Isagenix business, we'd do it. It would be more tangible. And I found this piece very, very easy and tangible. So if you say, oh yeah, you know what? They're on the fence. They don't want to come. They're worth a yes for them is worth $1,000 to you. So how much do you want them there?
Yeah, and what's interesting is that because that's a really great point, Seamus, and when they had the panel at UIA, for those of you that were there, and they did the numbers, and they did it at Red and White as well, and they did it Red and White in Vancouver. I did my own numbers just because I thought it's interesting. I just wanted to know where my numbers were. And I also did my numbers on events for the last, 4 or 5 years 5 years was easy because it was me. But after that, of who I had and what my earnings were, bang on. It's pretty much bang on. It's crazy. It's pretty much bang on. So I really hope I have more teammates coming this year. Awesome. Did anyone else have your hand up there that you wanted to share something? Jen, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say those are great chairs, and Trevor, the same way. We always find the speed of the leader, the speed of the pack. Like if we don't go, we can't expect our teammates to go. So we've noticed the last few years, the first year we went by ourselves, and then the next year a few more people came, and then the next year a few more other people came. So if you go, people are going to follow you. So
okay, yeah, they're traveling to Perry Sound.
go
Sorry, Jen.
to events.
Go to events, okay.
My
That sounded Japanese, but I think that's what you said. Okay, awesome. Okay, you guys. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to go into sharing. Thank you, Seamus, for that. Very valuable information. And celebration is like a month away. How stoked are you about it? It's exciting. So I'm going to talk a little bit about summer distractions. And this is a time of year when it's really easy for us to take our foot off the gas, as well as teammates to really take the foot off the gas. So I know there's been a few different calls on this lately. I am just going to share some of what I heard on just what Eric Worre had talked about in his recent videos, as well as what Michelle Dickey did on our team call the other night. So if you have a pen and paper, I'm going to move pretty quick, okay? So how many of you really want to crank your momentum through the summer so that coming into September when people are looking for solutions, you're the one they're going to think of, right? Awesome. And that's part of the reason to really stay in momentum right now. We know people may not decide to do a lifestyle change from a product perspective right now, but that's not to say they won't. They can't if they don't know about it, right? And that's where we really want to keep momentum up. The most important thing right now is your mindset. If we decide, oh, summer's slow, no one's going to want to do this, everyone's busy, they're busy with their families and all of that, then yeah, you're right. No one's going to want to do this with you because that's what you're setting up, right? But if you decide that this is the time I'm going to get really cranking it, because a lot of people are taking their foot off the gas, but I want to let people know that we've got solutions for them no matter where they're at and what's going on. They can incorporate it into their summer barbecues and everything like that. I'm still going to reach out. I'm still going to have lunch parties. I'm still going to work with my team. I'm still going to do all that. Then you're going to have great success. So it starts here first, okay? It's an opportunity to really capture interest, you guys, to really get connections. While other people may go to sleep, it's a good time for us to really wake up and think, what could I do? If I knew I couldn't fail, what could I do? what could I do different? You know, what kind of a campaign could I run? You know, I could go strong from now till celebration. So what are some of the things I could do, right? And think of some of the things that we have going on right now. I don't know if you guys have probably heard through the grapevine, but because of Jim Coover's birthday on the 11th, they're going to be releasing another new shake. Do you guys hear that? So I don't know what the flavor is. Some of you may have the inside scoop. I'm guessing they release mint chocolate in Australia. So I'm wondering if it might be mint chocolate. I don't know. No? You think it? You probably know, don't you, Morgan? She knows. She's got the inside scoop from the fields, I bet. It must be a summer flavor like mango or something like that. So anyways, let's see if I can get her face to change. Poker face. She won't budge. Anyway, so that's a good time to get talking to people, right? To get reaching out to people. You know, an amateur at network marketing would say everyone's busy, it's family time, it's vacation time. So I'll just take time off and I'll just chill out. And then come September, I'm going to go strong. This isn't the time to do that, right? So we got to ask ourselves, are we going to accept limiting beliefs? Okay, or are we going to use this as an opportunity? And, you know, I don't know who said it. I think it was Sarah, who said, speed of the leader, speed of the pack. And, you know, it's really true that if we keep going and we keep reaching out to people, we show our people how to keep the momentum up. What do you think they're going to do? Because they usually end up doing 50% of what we're doing, right? So if we're going for it, like 110%, they're going to be doing a lot more than they would be if we're doing nothing. So it's really a great time, you know, to get into action. So think of it this way. If you decide, you know what, for the next 4 or 5 weeks, probably 4 weeks, whatever it is, we're going to have at least a launch party a week in the team. And you gather with 4 or 5 of your teammates and you say, okay, guys, whose house is it going to be this week? You know, what events? Seamus talked to us about events. What events can you bring people to? It's party time. People want to get together. They want to socialize. You know, tasting parties. It's a great time for tasting parties. Get the little, you know, umbrellas out and do the fancy drinks and all that kind of thing. And I've started serving wine at my in-homes after the fact. And not everybody will have a glass of wine, and it's fine, but it's an option. It's not like it's a, you know, we do like a 40-minute presentation. We do our tasting party. We sort of, you know, have a little jam sesh, whatever. Get the computers out so people can get signed up. But it's just more social. It's more of a fun summer social as opposed to a launch party or an opportunity presentation. All right, so have some fun with it. But just think, if you had, you know, 4 or 5 of your teammates doing that as well, you guys were all capitalizing on that and bringing people out. It's a great way to keep things moving. And as I said, you really want to kind of be in people's minds. I mean, typically we know the numbers. If you've been to the events recently, you've heard the numbers. You don't have to sign up 50 people in the summer, but you could communicate to that one person who decides, you know what, this is amazing. I'm going to join forces with Morgan on this and look out because I'm doing this. That's all we need, right? That's all it is to find those people that really see this for what it is. But we won't find them until we talk to people. So we really want to keep talking to people. And that's where, you know, anywhere from 3 to 7 conversations typically before someone will make a decision. But if we're not following up, and especially through the summer, we let them sit for 2 to 3 months because we're taking our foot off the gas. When they're ready, someone else may have shown up in their space. Or, and not that I'm a fear-based about other people, talking to other people, but you want to make sure that you're following up with the people that you've spoken to. If they're not ready at that point in time, awesome. I'm going to follow up with you in September. I totally appreciate where you're at right now, but I look forward to touching base with you then. Is that cool if we connect then? Great, we'll talk in September, right? So just making sure you're doing those reach outs. So number 1 is getting into and keeping the momentum going. All right, and you get to decide what that is, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a second. Take advantage of experiences to connect with people. So you guys might be doing more family activities. You might be, you know, doing more social activities, more, you know, going out for beers on the patio or heading out to cottages or going out on boats or, you know, this was a big weekend for people, the long weekend. We've got a couple long weekends. What is it that you can, you know, take advantage of to connect with people and meet more people? And it's not like, oh, who can I talk to about Isagenix? Because that's not the purpose. The purpose is to connect with people, get to know them. Where are they? What do they do? You know, where they have some, you know, pains in their life or some things that they would like to be different, and start to really, you know, get into, I don't want to say take advantage of it, but almost it's an opportunity, right? Because we're doing things differently than we would in the winter when we're hibernating in our houses all the time. So taking advantage. And people are more open to communicate. because it's summer, it's warm out, people are having a good time, they're having a couple days off, whatever. So usually people are a little more open to chat. Again, working with the people that you have, let your teammates know that you're available. Be like, you know what, it is summer, but I am around still, obviously, and I'm really here to support you. So, you know, what is it that you'd really love to accomplish this summer? And check in with your people. And again, drive the train together, work together on it. Let them know I'm here for calls. You know, here's some training opportunities we can take advantage of. Sunday night call. We've got different team calls that we can, you know, still listen into. All the podcasts still. Events, all the events that Seamus talked about. You know what? I know you weren't planning on going to Celebration, but how can we make that happen for you? Because the how always shows up, right? So connecting in with your team. How many of you have got your work hours set or your Isagenix intention set for the summer? Any of us done that? Some of us. Sarah's giving Jay the look like, do we? So this is a good time for, you know, if you don't schedule it, it won't happen, right? Do you agree with that? That if it's not on the calendar, typically it's not going to happen. So like Morgan said, this doesn't happen by osmosis. This is like a course we're taking, you know, for 4 or 5 years to get us to complete freedom. It may not take that much time. It may take a little longer. Who cares? But it's a course. The only thing is we don't have a professor telling us when our assignments are due. We don't have a professor telling us when our exam is. We don't have a boss, like Seamus said, paying us $30 an hour to put our Isagenix time in. So it's up to us to be accountable to us and to be independent. But, you know, you can be accountable with teammates as well. But it's important to schedule it. So whether you decide, okay, I'm going to schedule my hours for income producing, or set your daily or weekly intentions. So say, okay, I'm going to connect typically through the year. You know, I'm working to connect with 3 people a day, 5 days a week. Through the summer, I'm going to do 2. I'm going to do 2 a day, 5 days a week. So that means 10 a week. So for a couple days, you've been away at a cottage or you've been busy with the family or whatever, you haven't got your connects done, then you're going to load up. You're going to say, I promised myself I'm going to do 10 this week. I'm not going to negate on my promise to myself. So is that something you guys think you can do? Setting those intentions with your daily or your weekly goals? Awesome. And again, I'm not your boss, so I'm just suggesting. But I want you guys to build your businesses and have the freedom so we can, you know, do what we want when we want. So part of, you know, what happens too is it may be important to reduce a little bit. Some people go really big on their goals and go, I don't know if you've ever worked with a teammate and they're like, yeah, I'm going to make like $20,000 a month in my 6th month. And we're like, okay, that's awesome if you do that. I'm glad to be partnered with you and I'm going to follow what you're doing. But we want to also help people manage expectations, right? Because we know this is network marketing. This is not going to happen overnight. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes consistency, persistence, and, you know, obviously dedication to really mastering the skills. So just, you know, basically what I want to get at is don't overcommit yourself. Be realistic. It is summertime. But also when you're thinking about what your goals are and what's important to you, what do you want to accomplish this summer? Is it just that I want to get on 1 call a week and I want to, you know, reach out to 2 people a day, 5 days a week, or 1 person a day, 5 days a week? Whatever it is, set it for yourself. Don't forget we've got a Crystal Exec deadline right now. So for some of you that may be going for that Crystal Exec again, some of us have hit it, but not me, but some of you, I think Jay and Sarah did. But for some of you that want to, you know, whether you're going for that goal or you've got teammates that even if they go for, you know, for manager or they go for director and they achieve manager, or they even just share with, you know, sign up for people, or you go for it and you have 5 new enrollments, you know, Enrollers Club. How awesome. Your business is going to grow no matter what. So set your goals, set your sights on something, and do have a goal, all right, through the summer. And then set up your day and set up your week. So this is what I found to be so helpful. I started doing this a couple of weeks ago, and it has made such a difference for me, is that usually for me, I do it on a Sunday night, Sunday evening, and I look at my week at a glance, book in my call times, and I also book in who I'm calling. So if you guys, and I put their phone, make sure I've got their phone number and their email, right? So that I've got access immediately. So I'm not searching and digging and all of that stuff. So if you know you're going to touch base with 2 people a day or whatever it is, put them in the book and put their information in the book. So if you get totally crazed in the day, but you've got, you know, a 10-minute drive, you're going somewhere, you just pop in the Bluetooth or whatever, or you're, quickly doing a grocery shop or something, stop in the car quick and send a quick text or whatever you have to do, give them a quick call. But make sure you have those set up in your day timer. Is that a helpful tip, you guys? Okay. Carry product, use samples, be a product of the product. You want to be showing people what it is that you're using. So if you're going out to, like I had a girls' day, I obviously took my Isagenix and my Isodelights and some of those things that I could share with the girls, with the potluck and stuff like that, but also because I knew we'd be having some beverages. And coconut rum and Isagenix orange are pretty good, I gotta say. So, a little bit of product share, but mix it up a little bit. So just, consistency with that. And then, we're going to barbecues and things like that. Maybe you're going to birthday celebrations or, retirements or whatever. Make a gift bag or a basket. You can take some product to share with people that way. Thinking about your people, it's not just about your consistency, but help your people. It wasn't cleanse and gin. That would be really weird. Think about with your people, who's inactive, who's expired, who is, has been on and off. Who are your active associates? Reaching into them and maybe, talking to them. It is summertime. What has held you back from staying consistent in the past? Well, how can I help you get going again and remain consistent in the summer? Do you know we have this great program where, from like Tuesday to Saturday, you're doing barbecues, doing your, living your life, having your shake a day, that kind of thing. But then on a Sunday or a Monday, you're doing a cleanse day, and just sharing with them ideas, helping them get, activated again. Sarah, to see it. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. And this is a great time to be doing that. Yeah, with the cleanse and the gin probably, right? And, if you're not going to be getting them restarted again, just catch them with where they're at. Where are you? How are things going for you? Where are you with your health goals? How's the family, that kind of thing. How are things with your work? Are you doing the things that you really want to be doing right now? Great to catch up. And just for the sake of sending love and completely checking in. Not with the intention of re-signing everybody on the spot, but just see where they're at. Let them know I'm here for you whenever you are ready. All right. Again, following up, talked about that, focusing on business right now. So even if you find that there are some people who maybe aren't ready to do some lifestyle changes with their nutrition, still a great time to really work on, building your team, focusing in on your team, helping your team. Are they organized? So if they did have a launch party next week and they signed up 10 people, would they be ready to manage that? That's one thing I always spend a lot of time with my team on is I'm organized queen. So I'm always like, are you set up? Do you know how to put them through the 8 steps or the new associate checklist? Do you know where the information is? Is your welcome email ready? This is a good time to kind of clean house on all of that stuff. So just keep that in mind. And really reaching in with the people that are ready to share. Are they ready to share? Kind of pretend that you're one of their new associates and see how they would take you through the process, role play. All right. Remove yourself from temptation. So when Michelle did the call, she talked about products. So I think probably my coconut rum probably was a little temptation. So probably, luckily I didn't have very much. But just being mindful that we want to keep staying a product of the product. We want to be, smart that way. As far as keeping consistent, but also business, with our belief and our mindset. Just, it's again, allow yourself to stay plugged in. Give yourself the gift of connecting with other people like us. We're on this call. We're all like-minded. We're sharing here for a reason. And just keep giving yourself that gift, right? So that we stay focused, we stay excited, we stay motivated, we stay plugged in. Also, social media, it's a time where there's a lot more happening on Facebook because people are doing more things, but it can also be a real time-sucking vortex. It can be an opportunity to share, but it can also be a time-sucking vortex. I mean, how many times do you go on there and you're looking for someone's number or you're checking in on something and half an hour later you're looking at so-and-so's cat and you're like, what am I even here for? I forget what I'm even here for. Right? Maybe I'm the only one who does that, but it's happened. So just be mindful of that, okay? But this is a really good time to brand yourself, you guys. So think about, who am I looking to attract into my business? I've got my list up there of what I'm looking to attract. So sometimes I'll ask myself, is what I'm putting out there on Facebook or Instagram, is it relatable to what it is I'm looking to attract into my business? Because if I'm showing pictures of me hanging all over people with like my drinks in my hand and all that kind of thing, but I'm looking for a responsible, you know, whatever individuals, is probably not a good, there's a disconnect there. So just be mindful. You know, what are you putting out there? What are your interests? You know, what are the people that you're looking to attract? You know, what are they interested in? They're focused, they're family oriented, they're, you know, they're driven, they're, you know, independent, they like to have fun, they're ambitious, maybe they're business minded. What are some of those things? And then just think about, you know, they're inspiring or whatever it is. What am I putting out there on social media? How can I start to brand myself? Who am I? You know, why would someone want to partner with me? And start to think about some of those things that you're putting out there. This is a great time to really get into, you know, being really clear on who you are and what you're looking to attract. Okay. Again, this is an exciting time with the summer. Number one, Canadians are happy because their weather's nice, but also it's family time. You know, it's also time for friends. It's also time for socializing. And for those of you that do have kids, you know, it can be tough sometimes because it is time to spend time with people. We can sometimes allow ourselves to feel guilty for not being with our family and for not being with some of our friends because we're working on building our business. But just remember, again, it can either be, you know, our reason to do it, or it can be our excuse not to do it. So pulling that in so that you're finding balance with it. And for those of you guys have littler kids, but some of you might be listening in with older kids, you know, having them be part of it. You know, it's like, I know Michelle was talking about having her kids having a replenish stand, and, you know, they're being entrepreneurial. They're selling their replenish instead of lemonade, but they're part of it. They're handing out flyers, you know, they're doing different things that way. I have kids come to my launch parties all the time. I've got one, Hannah, who's like 10 or 11 now. She's almost 12, I think. Catherine's daughter, and she does U+2, them +2. She does it better than any of us, so I have her do it. So just think about how you can start to pull the kids into it, pull the families into it, and make it an all-encompassing, you know, opportunity for everyone. So a couple closing thoughts. I don't even know what time it is here, but 1:45. Okay, so if you knew you could not fail, what would you do? So if you're asking yourself this summer, oh, you know, I really want to get to this goal, or I really want to work towards this, the question I want you to ask yourself pertaining to this or anything else, and share this with your people, if you knew that you could not fail, what would you do? I don't know about you, but I'm one of these perfectionists where if I'm thinking about, you know, putting a campaign or an email blast or doing something to promote something, I will sit here and analyze it to death and do nothing. That's the way I used to be. And now I'm like, okay, stop. So what could I do? If I knew I couldn't fail, what would I do? And then you just take action. You just take some action, because some action is going to reap some response and some reward. Okay? I read 2 amazing books this weekend. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Good book, right, Seamus? And The Big Leap. Oh, there it is. Love that book. So today it was all about talking about resistance, and that was just like hit home for me. So resistance, you know, we feel resistance. It's fueled by fear, and we feed it with power by our fear of it. But here's the thing. Fear is good. So it tells us what we have to do. You know, when that resistance comes up, the more resistance you experience, the more important your unmanifested art or project or enterprise is to you, and the more gratification you'll feel when you finally do it. How many of you have ever had a call to make to someone that you were, maybe they're, you know, they're chicken, people call it a chicken list. Maybe there's someone who you really wanted to talk to, but you kept hesitating, procrastinating, avoiding it, whatever. And then finally you had the conversation, and it was one of the best things ever. Have you ever had the experience? Right? So it's, you know, when you're feeling that resistance, just know you're feeling it for a reason. That means that you're supposed to push through. When you're feeling that fear, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, because it's like our, you know, our soul telling us that this is what we're really meant to be doing. We're really supposed to be doing this. So push through it. Master the fear and conquer the resistance. Awesome. Okay, you guys. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I apologize I kept you guys a little bit late, but I do appreciate you being here. I hope some of those tips were super helpful. And Seamus, thank you so much for speaking on events. Awesome tips, awesome shares. So powerful. And I love how you broke it down with the core 4.